One of the questions that's most commonly asked by most people who are doing their research is when their loved ones have been to multiple different treatment centers and found no success. And the question is, what can Gulfbreeze Recovery offer that's going to be different?
You know, I think that us going to the underlying cause of the addiction problem instead of treating the symptoms is one of the big things that we do. And what do I mean by that? You know, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, hey, I want to be addicted to drugs. You know, it's a process. And typically what happens is that a person is, you know, whatever it may be with them, you know, depressed, you know, looking for happiness, looking to fit in, whatever it may be for the individual. But they actually find a benefit in the drug or the alcohol. In the beginning, the drug or the alcohol is actually a perceived solution to the problem. And then, unfortunately, you know, the person goes back to the drug and alcohol and keeps going back, finding the benefit and the solution. But then all of a sudden it becomes a habit, an habitual pattern, and then of course a full-blown addiction. And so now what's happened is that the drug or alcohol is now, they've created a larger problem through the drugs and alcohol than what they had previously. And so what we're going to do is tackle the underlying reason of why you had to go there in the first place. Okay? And it's always an outside in, if you will, approach to handling a problem. And that is that we're looking outside ourselves for the solution. Okay? And addiction can take many forms. You know, it could be shopping, gambling, drug and alcohol, you know, you name it. But it's typically for the same, you know, there's typically an underlying cause. Okay? And it's that the person is looking outside themselves for happiness. And what we want to do is point that happiness back to them. In other words, let them know that guess what? You have everything inside of you, okay, to be a whole person. You're not broken, okay? And happiness is always an inside-out solution. Always, 100% of the time. But we get lost, okay? And what our program does, it just helps for a person to find that within themselves again and then to move forward.
So yeah, I agree with Barnett. And you know, these other treatment programs are focused on helping people create a life avoiding what they don't want. And at Gulfbreeze Recovery, we're helping them create a healthy direction of life of what they do want. And in doing so, drinking and drugs just aren't a part of that. So helping people look inward to find their serenity and security and contentment, when they discover that, it just no longer makes any sense to look outside of themselves for it. And because of that, what we do is portable. They take it with them. It's not about carrying a giant toolbox of life skills. That's not necessary, because every person has everything within them to live a sober, productive life. We just have to help them get in touch with it, and that's what we do.
Yeah, you know, and what we offer doesn't apply just to addiction. It applies to everything, all facets of our lives, relationships, you name it. And that's the beauty of it. It's about learning to enjoy life again. You know, I had a guest the other day who got a little emotional in my office, and you know, he had a really large realization, and you know, he come to realize that, wow, I'm enough. And that's the first time he's ever realized that, because he had worked all his life to try to please other people, please himself. It was just huge for him. But we are enough. We just have to know that.
a lot of times when people have been to multiple treatment centers, they've been to one program multiple times with different signs on the buildings. And it's like if you get sick eating Chinese, when you go inside, you don't say, well, next time I'll go through the drive-through. We don't see that these people have failed as much as maybe that program just wasn't a good fit, and maybe that program failed that individual.